My name is Kathy Kellogg Johnson, and I'm the third generation of our family business, Kellogg Garden Products. Our company was built on recycling organic material into something incredibly useful, not burning it, throwing it away, or putting it in the ocean. My title is a Chief Sustainability Officer, which after being 85 years old, our company, we look at the way we spend our time, the way we spend our capital, and the efforts we put forth. Are they sustainable? Are they going to be the same into the future? What we found in Africa was tremendous. Villages we visited in the remotest part of northern Tanzania that really haven't been visited. I saw in Africa, and I think it echoes who Kellogg is. There are people so proud of how they've lifted themselves out of poverty. They are so creative and they are so talented, and they have built for themselves a thriving community. We support Plant with Purpose because their mission is so similar to ours.
Hi, I'm Kathy Lundy. I'm a board member of Plant with Purpose. It's also known as Floresta. My husband and I have been involved in this ministry for 26 years. And Floresta was formed by a man who had worked in international business, and then he worked for nonprofits. And he wanted to find a way to take business principles and make nonprofits more effective. And one of the things that he found was that deforestation was often the very first ingredient leading to rural poverty. Once the trees are gone, what happens is that the topsoil in the next rains is washed away. So not only do the people lose the soil for planting, but they also have muddied up their water source. So they lose the clean water that they had.
Well, within 24 hours of landing, we landed in Kilimanjaro, and we were sort of rushed out of Arusha October 31st, and we drove in the hills of the Pare Mountains and the Same Mountains. And as we went up and up and up, and we're on dirt roads, potholes, cliffs that we were facing, we thought, how far are we going? Where are we ever gonna arrive, and what are we gonna see? And we found at the side of the road there were piles of rocks and piles of sticks, that this is people's occupation, is taking the remainder of the sticks, negotiating a price, setting it by the side of the road, and someone from the city would come collect the sticks. Someone from the city would come collect the rocks. So there were children throughout the hills and old people throughout the hills that were just merely picking up rocks and leaving them by the side of the road, and that was the occupation. Farmer Satre and his wife Impenda, and they had a tree nursery, and they grew over 30,000 trees in the back of their home. They are reforesting the rainforest themselves because they know they benefit from it.
So last season they supplied about over 30,000 seedlings to secondary schools, primary schools, and to the individual households.
Over and over again, a farmer would step forward sharing his testimony. They'd step forward and say, until now, I was told I had to use these chemicals to produce coffee. There was no other way than chemicals. And I didn't know why, but I was sick. I had to go to the hospital. I had asthma all the time. Well, through Floresta, they've taught us methods to not use chemicals.
Kanana has just said that before Floresta intervention, before Vicoba, people were in trouble. Were in trouble in such a way that they had this habit of saving. But after getting into the habit of saving, now it's good to them. This culture now is getting them into good system in such a way that they are not facing many problems as they were facing last time. So you remove the plastic tube before planting because it is not degradable. The first layer of the soil, the first 1.5 feet, you mix it with the compost, until it's full like that, and then you put a stick like that, and then you leave it for some time until when it starts raining, and then you bring seedlings.
I just learned so much from Albert and the farmers here in planting this coffee tree.
It's great. Okay,
What I loved about it is everything on the package directions that we've advocated for years was right here exactly how we should do it. Composting. They dig the compost into the hole. They dig the hole twice as deep and twice as wide as the plant needs, and they amend with those materials that you find around you in the landscape. Then when it is decomposed enough, which is a period of time between the rains, at the beginning of the short rains, then they plant the coffee using the soil in the little container, the plastic container. Also then amending the soil around it and packing back in around the hole. I love the way they use the stick to mark the place in the compost that eventually the plant will go. This is a new one for me, and what a great indicator, and what a good thing I'll do in my garden too, because again the materials going in the soil aren't fully composted, they're raw, and they're turning to compost in the planting hole. It's a method that works very beautifully. And then when the coffee plant is actually put into the soil, it's put in deep, so this acts as a catch basin.
So from there they were doing it in the stone. They had special stone, and they were pulping in the stone, and it was also laborious. But that was the second innovation. Thereafter they came up with this machine, which was locally made. So at that stage they do sorting to get the clean beans, and then it's ready to be taken to the market.
700 kilos. Alafu jiko la Floresta.
And they are going to use the Floresta stoves.
Yeah,
So
can we see?
each one of us can go inside and see.
Soda products everywhere you pass. So this is vegetable. We just planted 3 days ago. Mnafu nini kwa Kiingereza tuma? Night shed. And this is pilipili hoho is green pepper. You know, when you're supporting the people about economical, you support them also in spiritual. You know, our church here just depending the church collection. That's why you can't compare the pastors from your country and pastors in Africa. So if the people are poor, they just bring small amount of money. So they support well. For rest they support well economical church here in our place, because the people they can, when they keep in cow, when they get enough vegetable, some they bring the cows to the church as the 10% of the church. Some they bring a cow, goats, and milk. Some they bring also vegetable, carrots, and other things to the church, and we sell it by auction, you know. And some, what they selling, they bring money. So when the people are good in economical, they are good also in the church, because the people depending. And also about creation, as I told you, they effectively well in the church, because we teach the people well how to keep environmental, what the Bible says about that. So we are together. Thank you. But here I have already dig out. And you have to measure before. Just maybe here, what I need just 2 meters. Okay? So we have a measure.
So this is in preparation of preparing a double dug bed, the process of layering 2 ways, either brown, green, or dry, wet. So we've just finished putting sticks down dry, green down wet, ashes down dry, manure down wet. And all these processes will help the nitrogen that's in the manure and the urine and the urine-soaked bedding. That will decompose the carbon that's in the twigs, leaves, etc. The brown branches below provide aeration for a convection system. So this is a static process then. That means there's another process that you need that sometimes you are better suited to machines, that you turn it all the time, and it'll be done in 90 days.
There. Good.
Good.
It's a good work.
Okay.
Friends of Malindi Compost Manure.
Yay! Awesome.
Yeah, it's a good work.
Farmer Gibson said he had his one bed provided more food today than his entire yard did with previous methods of farming. He had now so much food that he's rotating his crops just so that the marketplace will endure how much that he's producing.
So he says from one plant he's assured of 100 shillings. So there are 220. So he's assured of 22,000 from all of them. Yeah. So from one double dog.
Kipindi nilivyokuwa nalima kwa kiholela ilikuwa hapa poti naweza nisipate 20,000.
And he says before he used to plant the whole area, but it was you would hardly get 20,000 shillings.
We're here in Mr. Gibson's pea field, and this is part of the project here in Floresta, Tanzania that's supported by USAID. And it's a program that helps farmers grow improved crops and then also helps them find a market for those crops. And so the USAID project is helping link farmers with markets so they can receive a better income to support themselves and their families.
So when they had that one cistern, they were getting water only from 5 to 6 every day, 5 to 6 in the evening every day. But now they can get water from 3 to 6 every day. And because they control this water runoff, so when they close it, everyone has got enough water for the next day.
Funga sasa yasimwagike.
Hebu ya picha.
With the new system, they plan to add more water points because the pressure has increased. Also, water is more available as compared to previous because they had only one system. So with the second one, they can now add water points, more water points.
The Vicoba is an opportunity weekly. It is where the community itself saves their money. Floresta provides the method. They have a green box that is the center of the meeting that is padlocked on 3 sides. And you'll see that the Tupperware contains the village money. They're limited to 3,000 Tanzanian shillings per week that they can save.
Then it's now time for you to contribute to their box. At least boost something so that they are now free to explain to us, to show to us what they are doing.
But in addition to what Richard has said, sometimes people get annoyed. Why are there too many contributions? But this model is, we are here because we want money. If we are Vicoba group, we are here because we want to raise our capital. So everybody who is coming, it means in one way or another is supporting the group. That's why, you know, there are this, that's why the model is like this. So you need to motivate the group member when you are there. All this contribution is like a motivation. Even the fines, it's they are just there to keep people alert and to make sure that everyone is following what is taking place in the group. So for the purpose of learning this, I thought it's good to give more elaborations because we get a lot of questions when we take other people to the groups because they feel that they are too much bothered by this kind of fines and contributions every time they are going to the group. But basically that's how the model is.
Namba 6.
Namba 3 mikungu mitatu.
Namba 5.
Namba 5 mikungu mitatu.
Namba 11.
Namba 11 mikungu mitatu.
Here, what is expected here is just to see the number of shares. And the value of share is to be recorded in those other sheets. But you can see in here, some passbook, they fill the value of share. So Mama Banzi was reminding me, here it is expected to be recorded just number of share, not value of share.
Malindi is about 3.5 hours away from the other Floresta projects. So they realized that as this Malindi area grew and has 21 different Vicoba groups, that they needed an office there. So we were lucky enough to be there on the day that they opened their office and dedicated it. He was really a leader figure in the village. One of the stories they told about him was that he ran, now it must have taken us over an hour just on the mountain road, dirt road, to get up the mountain. That when he was young, he was a great runner and he was chasing a dik-dik to hunt. And he ran all the way down the mountain to hunt this dik-dik and catch it. He was in a sense the village storyteller, and he came out, and in this picture he's crouched on the ground with a bow and arrow and a club, and he did a little story of the history of Africa, beginning with when the people had to forage for food and scrounge for it on the ground, and then they learned how to hunt with bows and arrows and hunt with their club, and then they learned to plant. And then along came Vicoba, which helped them feed themselves. And so in a nutshell, that was his story of how Vicoba fit into the history of how people in Africa fed themselves. And at the end of the story, he's walking along very strong.
Right before they opened the official banking meeting, they do fundraising. And this is where they gather whatever extra money they have. They give, not expecting to be repaid. They give to what they call the social fund or the environmental fund. All the money they're giving, money that they will see go to plant trees on the hillsides. It's money that they'll see send a friend or a village member to the hospital. It's money that they will use to send a child to school.